again, this is Augusto Zimmerman with Heatcraft Kaiser Warren Alternative Systems Center of Excellence. Today we're going to talk about some of the main modules that make up our CO2 Transcritical Booster Rack product line. This here at the bottom of the rack is the medium temperature compressor module. In this module you're going to find the medium temperature compressor, also known as transcritical compressors, the suction and discharge header, oil separator, and pressure relief valves for the high side. In this particular rack, you have a configuration with 3 compressors at the medium temp. Our product line, you can grow up to 6 compressors on this module and still keep the same appearance and the same mounting positions of the compressors. You can see here that we also have all the pressure switches for low pressure and high pressure, and we can also have the pressure gauges here so you can clearly look and see how the system is operating. On the second tier of this rack, on top of the medium temperature compressors, you're going to find the low temperature compressor module. In this module, you're going to find the low temperature or subcritical compressors. As all of you may know by now, a transcritical CO2 booster rack is able to take care of an entire store load, both low temperature and medium temperature. In addition to the compressors, in this module, you're also going to find the oil reservoir, suction and discharge headers, high pressure and low pressure switches for the low temperature compressors, and the gauges both for the flash tank pressure and for the low temperature compressor suction. Moving on to this side of the rack, we have here what we call the refrigerant management module, or also called liquid station. In this module we have, in our standard design, 3 main components: the high pressure control valve or high pressure expansion valve, the flash tank or receiver, and the flash gas bypass valve. In this module we can also add optional features such as liquid subcooling, low temp and medium temp suction accumulators, and also by extending the size of the liquid station module we can add heat reclaim on this side of the rack. To allow for a flawless startup and a smooth capacity modulation, our compressors in our racks are equipped from the factory as a standard option to have a variable frequency drive on the lead compressor for medium temp. And also as an option, the same VFD can be added to the low temp compressors for the same purpose. Let's talk a little bit about the controls. From the very beginning of the design of this project, Heatcraft Kaiser Warren wanted to be as flexible as possible to accommodate any of their customer needs. In this case, this rack is equipped with an E2 CPC controller and combined with Danfoss controls for the high pressure expansion and the flash gas bypass valves. However, since, as I said, we're very flexible in our design, we can accommodate any of the available controls that are in the market that are able to control CO2 transcritical systems. At last but not least, for those stores where we have the possibility of having auxiliary power, in case of a power failure, we have the space to install an auxiliary condensing unit that serves as an emergency pressure control system for the flash tank. One of the differentiating aspects of Heatcraft Kaiser Warren design is that we take pride in trying to minimize the cost of installation to our customers. In the case of this CO2 transcritical system, on the high pressure side of the system, we opted to use high pressure copper alloys so that any joining operations that is done on this side of the rack can be done by standard brazing operations instead of relying on certified ASME steel welders to do the field piping and also the rack piping. As you may already know, one of the characteristics of CO2 as a refrigerant is that it operates at a much higher pressure than your standard HFC system. For example, on the discharge side of the system, pressures can get up to 1740 psi. In order to protect your safety, we install pressure relief valves that, in case any abnormal pressure in the system happens, they relieve the CO2 charge to the outside of the unit. One of the things that we take pride here at Kaiser Warren is to be able to work very closely together with the field contractors that do the maintenance in the systems. In order to facilitate their job in identifying components in this rack, we installed identifying tags in every single valve, sensor and transducer in the system. The nomenclature in these tags is affixed inside of the control panel so you can refer easily back to that legend and identifying on the piping and instrumentation diagram that ships with the unit. So to wrap it all up, I hope you have enjoyed learning about the details of our subsystem and modular design for our CO2 transcritical booster rack, and that by this point have realized that it's not as difficult as it seems, right? Thank you and see you next time.